What if Rhaenyra Targaryen was resurrected alongside Daenerys at Khal Drogo's funeral pyre? Let's explore this alternate timeline together in the video.
These are the stories from the Citadel, the ones the Maesters tried to bury, and the ones they're still trying to. Hit subscribe before this raven gets shot down.
The last thing Rhaenyra Targaryen ever saw was Sunfyre's teeth closing around her body. 150 years later, she opened her eyes inside another dragon's fire. The Dothraki sea stretches wide beneath a dying sun, and the great khalasar of Drogo lies broken upon it. Beside the dead Khal kneels a silver girl whose son was born, twisted and dead. The funeral pyre rises high in the dusk, and Daenerys stands before it, and Ser Jorah Mormont watches her with the look of a man who has already lost an argument he has not yet begun.
Khaleesi, you should not stand so close. There is nothing more for you to do here.
There is everything for me to do here, Ser Jorah. I have been a wife and a mother, and I have failed at both. Now there is only one thing left, to find out what I am.
Khaleesi, the Blood Riders whisper that you mean to walk into the fire. I beg you, do not listen to that woman at the post.
She did not give me this thought, Jorah. My brother did. He used to tell me one story only when the wine was deep in him. The story of Rhaenyra, the realm's delight. The queen who fought her own brother across the skies of Westeros, and who lost. He said her name like a curse.
Then why think of her now?
Because Viserys did not understand the story he was telling. He thought it was about losing. I think it is about facing fire and not flinching. She walked the deck of Dragonstone knowing what waited for her, and she did not flinch. I will not flinch either.
Khaleesi, please. The dragons are dead. The eggs are stone. There is no magic left in this world.
Then nothing will happen, Jorah, and I will die a queen instead of a widow. But if I am wrong, if the blood of the dragon truly flows in my veins, then the world will know it tonight, and so will I.
She takes the torch from Ago's hand and walks slowly around the pyre, pressing the flame to the silks at four corners. Mirri Maz Duur begins to sing, half a prayer and half a curse. Ser Jorah falls to his knees.
Khaleesi, I am begging you.
Rhaenyra Targaryen faced dragonfire at the end of her life. Now I walk willingly into mine. If I am truly blood of the dragon, let the fire judge me. And if I am not, then there is nothing in me worth saving anyway.
She walks into the fire. The flames wrap around her like silk, and the world goes white. The eggs at the heart of the pyre crack with a sound like thunder, and three small shapes uncurl in the embers and lift their heads for the first time in 150 years. When the flames sink down to glowing coal, Daenerys stands among the ashes, naked and unburned, three dragons clinging to her. Beside her, collapsed in the ash, lies another shape, silver-haired, amethyst-eyed, shaking with a horror that comes from very far away.
Sunfyre.
What did you say?
Sunfyre. He was eating me. He was eating me. And Aegon was watching, and I could feel my legs going, and my son was screaming on the rocks.
You are safe. The fire is gone. There is no dragon eating you. Only three small ones, and they are mine.
Where am I? This is not Dragonstone. The sky is wrong.
You are in the Dothraki Sea, east of everything. I called your name, and the fire answered.
My name?
Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra of House Targaryen, the realm's delight. My brother told me your story. I called for you because I wanted to be brave.
Dragons. There are dragons again. Gods be good, there are dragons again.
The black hatchling climbs onto Daenerys' shoulder and screeches at the dawn, and Rhaenyra goes rigid where she lies, and her breath stops.
He is only small. He will not hurt you.
Sunfyre was small once. They are all small once. And then they remember what they are.
Then we will teach them better. Help me. There is no one left who knows what they are.
What is your name to me, child?
Daenerys Stormborn, daughter of King Aerys, the second of his name.
Aerys. There were two before my time. There must be more after. How long?
How long since what?
Since I died, child.
150 years, perhaps? The maesters call it the Dance of the Dragons. They say it broke our house.
Rhaenyra closes her eyes, and a single tear cuts a track through the ash on her cheek.
150 years. My boys are dust. My father is dust. Everyone I ever loved or hated is dust. And you stand in front of me with my house's blood. 3 dragons, and not the first idea what to do with them.
No, I do not.
Then we had best begin, niece, while the embers still remember what made them.
By dawn, the survivors are bowing before 2 silver-haired women. Ser Jorah walks among the bones of the pyre on his knees.
Khaleesi, forgive me. I doubted you. I will not doubt you again.
He loved you, child. There is a difference, and you should learn to hear it. Tell me your name, sir.
Ser Jorah Mormont of Bear Island. Once.
And what brought a Mormont so far from the cold sea? Loyalty? To her? Or to the spider in Pentos who feeds you news of her travels? To the king in the west who paid your pardon in coin you have not yet earned?
Jorah, look at me. Is this true?
Jorah does not answer. His silence is the only answer that matters.
Do not kill him, niece. Do not even banish him. A man who has sold you once will tell you everything he sold, if you are clever about how you ask. Keep him close and keep him afraid, and the spider will write his letters in your handwriting before the year is out.
Ser Jorah, you will sleep outside my tent from this night forward. You will speak to no one I do not name, write to no one I do not name, and when I tell you to write, you will write what I tell you, in the order I tell you. If you do this, I will let you live. Do you understand me?
Yes, Your Grace.
Get out.
Better, child. That is the voice you will need.
I do not enjoy it.
If you ever begin to enjoy it, you will have lost the right to use it. That is the first lesson, and the only one most of us forget.
The dragons grow quickly in the moons that follow, quicker than canon will admit, and Daenerys names them in the old way: Drogon, Rhaegal, Viserion. But Rhaenyra cannot bear them at first. When Drogon snarls, she goes rigid, her cup whitening at the knuckles. When the dragons cry in the small hours, she wakes with a scream choked behind her teeth.
Rhaenyra, they are not him. They will never be him.
Tell that to my body, child. My body has not learned the difference yet.
What were you saying just now? In the old tongue.
Ixa dao Zaldrizes. You are not the dragon. I have been saying it to myself every time one of them cries. I do not yet believe it.
Teach me what I should be saying when they cry.
Niece, listen to me first. Dragons are not horses. Dragons are not dogs. They do not love you because you have fed them. They do not obey you because you have trained them. A dragon decides, the way one decides about a friend or an enemy. And once a dragon has decided you are theirs, they will not unmake the choice. That is the part the maesters never wrote, because the maesters never sat with one in the long quiet of the morning. A dragon chooses. You can ride one a dragon has not chosen, and that dragon will throw you into the sea on the 3rd day, and the sea will keep you. So we begin with choosing.
How do they choose?
By a thing in you that is not the part of you that can be taught. The part the singers call blood. We will see who chooses whom when they are larger. Until then, we learn the words. Say, Dracarys.
Dracarys.
Slower. The first part holds. Dracarys. It is the breath of the dragon catching. Say it again.
Dracarys.
Better. That is fire. Soves is to fly. Jikagon is to come. Doheras is to serve. But you will not use Doheras with a dragon. A dragon does not serve. Remember the last word and never use it. You may use it on a slaver, if you find one who needs the lesson.
Why teach me a word I am not to use?
So that when a man uses it on you, niece, you will know exactly what he is asking. Half of ruling is hearing the word that is not said. And Doherus is a word that is in the back of the throat of every man who has ever knelt to a queen. Remember it.
And the bond, Aunt. The maesters wrote it was magic, that the blood was a key, that the rider chose the dragon and the dragon was bound.
The maesters wrote what scholars write when they have not done the thing, niece. The bond is not magic. It is the bond that grows between any two creatures who have eaten beside one another, fought beside one another, and slept under the same sky long enough that the smell of one is the comfort of the other. The blood matters, yes. The blood lets a dragon hear you when you speak its true name, and lets you sit a saddle that would throw any other rider into the sea. But the bond is patience. It is the goat you bring at dusk when no one is watching, and the song you hum when you tend a wing cut. They are not horses, but they are not gods either. They are children with teeth. Treat them like children with teeth.
Then why do the singers say a Targaryen is born with a dragon?
Because the singers want their kings to be gods. The truth is that a Targaryen is born with the right to try, and the dragon decides the rest. My father had 3 dragons in his lifetime and lost 2. My uncle sat the dragon pit floor for a season before the old beast he wanted would so much as look at him. We are not born with them. We are owed the chance. The owing is what the maesters never wrote down.
Did you ever lose one?
I lost all of them, niece. Every one of mine. That is the rest of the lesson. You will lose them too in the end. We do not love them less for that. We love them more. Because the sky has a number on every dragon. And the dragons know the number even when we do not.
Tell me about her, Aunt. Yours.
Syrax. She was a yellow she-dragon my father gave me the year I learnt to read. Bigger than my mother. Slower than my father. She liked salted fish more than anything else, and she would dive on a school of mackerel for sport. And she would land on the deck of any ship that smelled of fish and refuse to leave until they fed her. She died at the dragon pit, niece. The mob killed her with iron and rope. They had been told dragons were a thing that could be killed. They had been told this by men who wanted my children dead. The mob was right, and the men were wrong. And the dragons died either way.
Rhaenyra, I am sorry.
Do not be sorry, niece. Tell me about your 3. Tell me what they like. Tell me what they will not eat. Tell me what frightens them. The day a Targaryen does not know what frightens her dragon is the day the dragon dies.
Drogon will not eat goat. He prefers a horse, and he prefers a mare to a stallion. Rhaegal eats anything, and watches the sky for storms before they come. The Sarian prefers food from your hand to food from mine, and I do not begrudge him.
And what frightens them, niece?
Drogon is afraid of nothing yet, which means he is afraid of everything and has not learnt the names. Rhaegal is afraid of being last. The Sarian is afraid of fire, which is a strange thing to be in a dragon.
It is not strange. It is the wisest thing in him. The day a dragon is afraid of fire is the day he is grown.
The cream and gold one is the worst, because his colour is a memory she cannot unsee. Yet he does not stalk her. He does not threaten her. He follows her with the patience of an animal that has decided on his own to be gentle.
The Blood Riders are saying the Syrian is your husband, come back.
Let them say it, niece. Stories are how the small folk hold the world together. We will not break the stories. We will let them carry us.
And in Vaes Dothrak, the Dosh Khaleen are saying you are a Zavorsa Lajaki, a fire rider returned. The merchants from Karth say you are a witch. The men at the well last night were saying that fire will not bite us and that we cross the desert without water.
Did we cross the desert without water, niece?
No.
Then the story is already better than we are. That is how it should be. Do not contradict it. Do not confirm it. Let the world finish writing it for us.
One evening, Viserion lowers his great head onto the mat beside her and waits. And Rhaenyra raises her hand, and she cannot make it cross the small distance between them.
He has been waiting for you. Look at him. He has been waiting.
I cannot, child. The hand will not move. The body remembers what the mind has forgiven.
Then do not move it. Let him come to you.
My sons would have done this, niece. Joffrey, my littlest, had a way with hatchlings I never learned. He would sit by the eggs for hours, and they would stir for him before they would stir for me. He was the last of mine to die.
I am so sorry, Rhaenyra.
I am sorry too, child. The singers leave out the suppers we ate after. There were a great many of them, and the silverware felt very loud.
Viserion presses his nose against her open palm, and Rhaenyra weeps for the first time since the fire, and her hand opens flat against the warm scale, and she does not pull it back.
I think Aegon broke him before Aegon broke me, niece. I do not know how, but he is mine.
Will you ride him?
Yes, I have done my flinching.
In the moons that follow, Rhaenyra teaches Daenerys to enter a tent without speaking first, to look at a man's hands before his face, to take her time before answering. Daenerys, hungry for a teacher her whole life, learns so quickly that one morning Rhaenyra hears her own cadence in another woman's mouth, the pause before the verb, the low, even tone, the final upturn that is not quite a question and not quite a command.
Rhaenyra, the words I just used on Aggo, I did not choose them.
You chose them, niece. You did not notice that you chose them.
They were yours. The shape of them was yours.
Yes, that is what teaching is. You will use a great many of my words. You will use my pauses. You will use my way of standing, the way I held my hand on the arm of a chair when I was your age. Borrow what serves you. Discard what does not. And remember, niece, that you will leave more of me behind than you take. The part of you that does not become me is the part the realm has been waiting for.
The khalasar reaches the border of Vaes, Dothrak in the dry month of summer. Daenerys, who still has more of the souled girl in her than either of them yet knows, comes to her aunt's tent at dusk with a proposal. Rhaenyra is sitting by the fire with Viserion's head across her lap.
The Dosh Khalin. I am the widow of a great Khal. Tradition demands I go to them. If they accept me, the khalasars will follow. I think we should honor the old ways.
Rhaenyra raises her eyes from the fire, slowly, and the look in them is the one Sunfyre saw in the last hour of his life.
Niece, you will not.
Ray,
You are not riding into a city of widows to beg old men for permission to exist. You have dragons now. You have a teacher. You have a queen behind you who has been to your hell already and walked out of it. You will not kneel in a tent of crones who spent their lives waiting for their husbands to ride out and die. And you will not do it because the old way says you should. The old way killed me, child. The old way killed every Targaryen who knelt in a hall full of small men. We are not going to the Dosh Khalin. The Dosh Khalin are coming to us.
then how?
By the same way every great house in this world has ever made other men kneel. Fire, fear, the old picture in the back of every man's head, that something with wings is going to come out of the dark and decide whether his bloodline ends tonight. We will give the Dothraki the picture. They will write the rest of it themselves.
When?
Tonight. The moon is dead. The wind is from the east. The grass is dry. We will not have a better night this year.
And when they look up?
They will see what their grandmothers' grandmothers told them never to look up at. Fly low, niece. Low enough that the bonfires light your face. They must see you. The dragon is only the half of it. The face on the dragon is the other half.
The dragons climb in 3 slow circles above Vaes Dothrak. Daenerys is on Drogon, Rhaenyra on Viserion at last, and Rhaegal flies between them riderless, and the children scream first, and the horses scream second. And by the time the Khals come stumbling from their tents, the grass at the edge of the city has caught fire in a long crescent, and the fire is moving. Rhaenyra, calling across the wind,
Lower, niece. The bonfires. Let them see your face.
And what about the Dosh Khalin, Rhaenyra?
They will come out on their own. Watch the temple. There. They are coming.
The Dosh Khaleen come out of their hall like a flock of grey birds, and they look up at the silver-haired woman on the gold dragon, and 3 of them fall to their knees in the dust, and one begins to wail in the old Dothraki way, the keening that is for the death of the world. Daenerys speaks then, from Drogon's back, not in common, but in Dothraki, the tongue she learned to give her son a name in.
Anhaje Khalisi, the mountain that rides, has come back to her people. Kneel or burn. There is no third path. There has not been a third path since dragons returned to the world.
The Khals kneel. Some kneel because they understand. Some kneel because the man beside them has knelt, and no one wants to be the last on his feet. The Dosh Khaleen kneel last and slowest, and when they stand, they are not the Dosh Khaleen anymore. They are the priestesses of a new thing, and they have understood it before the Khals have. Rhaenyra brings Viserion down on the broad temple stone, dismounts, and walks among the kneeling Dothraki without looking at any of them. She finds Daenerys at the foot of the temple stair and puts a hand on the back of her niece's neck.
Now you are a Khaleesi the way Aegon the Conqueror was a king. Not by their leave, by their fear. Try to remember which you wanted to be when you have time.
I don't think I ever wanted to be either.
That is the right question, niece. Keep asking it.
Brought to you by theblackdread.com. You can explore for free, but for $1.99 a month, you join the inner circle with exclusive shorts, less than a late-night impulse buy. Join us at theblackdread.com.
That night, after the Khals have ridden home and the dragons have settled, Daenerys finds her aunt at the edge of the firelight. The grass smoulders for a mile in the dark.
I spoke in Dothraki the way I feel you would have spoken it. Not exactly the way I think I would have spoken it, even just 6 moons ago. There were words I did not know I knew. There were pauses I did not put there. The voice was mine, and it was not mine.
I know, niece.
I am not sure I want to be that voice.
You will be many voices before you are done, child. The voice you use tonight is the voice of a queen who needed 3 Dosh Khaleen to kneel before sunrise. Tomorrow you may use a different voice on a merchant who wants to cheat you, or a different voice on a child who has lost a goat. They will all be yours, and not all of them will sound like the one you woke up with.
I often wonder what our ancestors in Valyria were like. Did they know who they were, or did they question themselves like me?
I wonder too, Daenerys. My father loved Valyrian histories, but I don't think even he truly knew what the 40 families were like.
Maybe Maester Black and Acolyte Wren should read us a few of their stories.
Maybe.
The 2 queens leave the grass sea with a khalasar behind them larger than any since Drogo's, and the merchants who have followed them carry the story west on every road. By the time they reach the white walls of Korth, Xaro Shorn Daxos waits at the gates with the 13.
Daxos, your offer is generous, but we will not accept it.
Rhaenyra, the warlocks have invited me to the House of the Undying, and they say there are visions there for me.
Did your brother ever take you to a brothel, niece?
What? No. Why?
Because the rule is the same. When a man tells you he has visions for you in his back room, what he wants is your body, or your purse, or your name on a parchment when you are too dazed to refuse. You will not go into that house. A queen does not enter rooms she cannot leave.
The warlocks attempt to take what they cannot lure. Piat Prey comes for Daenerys in the small hours, and he does not expect to find Rhaenyra waiting and Drogon awake. By sunrise, the House of the Undying is a column of smoke. Xaro is found dead in his own bed, and the queens sail west to Astapor. 3 nights before the fleet reaches the city, Daenerys finds her aunt awake on the deck again. Hair loose, eyes red. Viserion's great head is lowered onto the rail beside her, making the small sound dragons make when their rider has not slept.
Sunfyre again?
Sunfyre. And the boy. The youngest one, always. He stands on the rocks calling for me, and the gold dragon is the size of a hill, and I cannot move. The body never forgets, niece. The body has its own court, and I am not the queen there.
Will it ever stop?
I do not think so. I think it will become smaller. I think I will get faster at finding the deck. But it will not stop, no. The fire is in there, and the fire kept its room when I came back.
Even tonight? After Vaes Dothrak? After Karth?
Especially tonight. The body is not impressed by what we have done. The body remembers what was done to it. There are nights it remembers more loudly than others, and we are sailing toward a city that smells like the harbour at Driftmark. And Driftmark is where I lost the youngest one. And the body has worked out where we are going.
I am sorry.
Stop being sorry. Be useful. Forgive me. Just... the next time it happens, do exactly what you have done tonight. Stand here. Say my name. Let the dragon press his head to the rail. That is the new court. The new court has us in it, and the old court has only the dead. It is my burden, not yours.
If it ever happens to me, if I come back from a place I should not have come back from, and the body has its own court, will you stand on the deck for me?
Until I am dust again, niece. Until I am dust again.
Rhaenyra walks Daenerys through the trade as a woman walking another woman through a marriage she will be expected to consummate.
Niece. The wise masters speak Valyrian in the corner of their mouths and common in the front. They will assume we understand only the front. They will mock us in the back. Do not let them know you understand. Let me be the silent one. I will be old. I will be slow. The dragons are the bargain. The unsullied are the prize. When the moment comes, and it will come, I will know.
And if they ask why I have brought a silent old woman?
They will not ask. They have spent their lives selling silent old women. They will assume I am one of mine. Plus, who are you calling old?
The plaza of Astapor smells of brick dust and of the oil the unsullied are made to rub into their armor. 8,000 of them stand in long iron rows. Krasnis Mo Naklos stands on the scaled platform with his thin translator at his elbow.
Tell the silver bitch she has brought a small dragon and a silent old whore. The dragon will be enough if it is enough. Tell her to set the price.
The translator, hesitating, softens this into common as a courtly welcome and a polite request that Her Grace name her offer.
Tell him I will trade my largest dragon for all 8,000. I require the whip and the chain as well.
The dragon for 100. The whip is mine until I die. Tell the little girl she does not bargain in this market without first kneeling.
The translator, in common, gives back only that Master Krasnis offers 100 of the unsullied and regrets that Her Grace's terms cannot be met.
Tell him all of them or no trade. I will leave Astapor today and the Bay can keep its slaves.
Tell the goat whore I have 8 more cities of slaves if she walks out. Tell her her dragon is a child's pet, and her old whore should sit. I have stools for the slaves we have used up.
This goes on for an hour, and twice during the bargaining, Krasnis glances at Rhaenyra and laughs. The translator's mouth opens and closes. Rhaenyra speaks then, in High Valyrian, in the inflection of old Valyria that the Astapori bastard tongue has lost.
Sit, slaver. I have been on my feet for 150 years.
Krasnis's mouth opens. His translator goes white. He has not understood every word. He has understood enough.
Continue the trade, child. Do not let me delay you.
Daenerys finishes the bargaining. The price is the largest dragon for every unsullied in the city, every officer, every slave soldier still in training, and the whip. Drogon is led to the platform. The chain is put around his neck.
It is done?
It is done. The dragon is mine.
Daenerys feels the chain in her hand, and the world goes very quiet, the way Rhaenyra told her it would. She has held this word in her teeth for an hour, and for a moon. And in some older, quieter part of herself, she has held it since the night she walked into a fire to find out what she was. She thinks of her brother, who sold her for a horde of horsemen, and said her aunt's name like a curse. She thinks of Khal Drogo, who promised her 7 kingdoms, and died on the grass sea before he could give her one. She thinks of the boys Astapor unmade into the long iron rows behind her. She thinks last of Rhaenyra, who taught her how to wait. The chain is hers now. The dragon was never his. The word in her mouth is older than this plaza, and older than the empire that built it, and older than every chain that has held a man in this bay, and the word is ready.
Dracarys!
The platform goes white. Krasnys is gone before he understands he is dying. The whip burns to ash in Daenerys' hand.
A dragon is not a slave.
But Astapor does not fall in one breath. The remaining wise masters at the back of the platform scatter. Their guards, Volantaine sellswords with long beards, close into a ring and begin to push toward Daenerys with the mechanical discipline of men who have killed queens before. The Unsullied stand at their drilled rest. The plaza is smoke and screaming. Then Viserion lands. He comes down out of the smoke not as a dragon comes down to a light, but as a thing comes down to a place it has been told to come. The platform's stones split. The sellswords' pikes break in their hands. The Unsullied in the front rank go to one knee at once, not because anyone has ordered them to, but because some part of every man knows when to kneel. And out of the smoke on the gold dragon's back walks Rhaenyra Targaryen. Hood thrown back, silver hair lifted in the heat wind. Amethyst eyes calm in a way no living face has been calm in this plaza in any of these men's lifetimes. A wise master, perhaps the cleverest, has drawn a dagger and got within 3 steps of Daenerys. Rhaenyra crosses the platform at a walk.
I watch dragons eat men slower than this, slaver. Take your hand off the hilt before I show you which one.
The wise master takes his hand off the hilt. Rhaenyra walks past him as if he has stopped existing, and he understands, watching her go, that he has. She comes to her niece's side and addresses the Unsullied below.
You sought her alone. That was your mistake. Astapor is finished. Choose.
The Unsullied choose. They put their spears down at their feet, 8,000 at once, and then they pick the spears up and turn them around, and the surviving wise masters go down screaming under disciplined hands that have been waiting since they were boys for permission. By dusk, the city is the queen's. Daenerys stands on the platform in the cool of the evening and looks down at what has been done. Rhaenyra stands beside her, and for the first time, Daenerys is afraid of her aunt. Not the way one is afraid of a dragon, but the way one is afraid of a sword that has been put on a table by a friend.
Rhaenyra, you frightened me in there.
Good, niece. You should be a little frightened of me. The day you are not is the day I have lost the right to be your teacher. I am not a kind woman. I was once, and a brother and a dragon and a husband ate it out of me. What I have left is more useful than kindness for what we are doing. But I want you to remember what I am. Do not become only what I am. Become something better with what I am as the foundation.
How?
By keeping the part of you that walked into a fire because she wanted to be brave. I never had that part, niece. I had the dragons and the name and the throne. You have a thing I do not have. Do not lose it.
The fleet sails on to Yunkai. The wise masters send 7 envoys in 7 painted barges, and the queens receive them on the deck of the lead galley with Drogon coiled on the foredeck like a sleeping cat the size of a barn.
Niece, they have come with terms. They are afraid. Use the fear.
How many of them shall I send back?
1. The thinnest. The one whose hands are shaking. He will run the fastest, and he will tell the truest story he knows. Because a man who has been frightened tells the truest story he knows. Feed the rest to Drogon. Slowly, if you can. Quickly as mercy. And Yunkai has not yet earned mercy.
And the message?
No message, niece. He has the message. He is the message.
Yunkai surrenders before the 7th envoy has finished his report. The Yunkish nobles are stripped and put to rebuilding the pyramids they once owned, and those who refuse are fed to Viserion. 2 cities of the Bay of Dragons are open before the queens have shed a single drop of their own blood. Meereen is harder. The great masters have crucified 163 slave children at 163 milestones along the coast road. The queens see the children before they see the city. Daenerys is silent on Drogon's back for half an hour and does not look down. Meereen falls in a single afternoon. Daenerys gives an order which, in the world without Rhaenyra, she would have given in cruder form.
163 great masters, one for every child, by name, by lineage, by household. There will be no mercy and there will be no lottery.
Good, niece. Burn them. Do not crucify them. Crucifixion is a slow art that Giscari understand. They will turn it into a story. Fire ends a story.
The great masters of Meereen burn. The city does not rise the way another city in another life might have, because Rhaenyra knows the shape of a noble conspiracy in the way a sailor knows the shape of weather. She walks the markets in a hood with her dragons circling overhead, and she returns to the Great Pyramid each evening with names.
Niece, the grain merchant on the third tier, the round-faced one with the brass scales. He pays the gold mask gangs a tithe for protection, and 3 of his cousins wear the masks at night. Send the Unsullied at the third bell. Not the second, not the fourth, the third.
But won't he run?
He will. They always run. That is why you go in at the third bell. He will be on the harbour road by then with his strongbox and a mule, and the men I have put at the second milestone will be waiting. You learn the shape of fear, niece, and you put your soldiers exactly where the fear ends.
What of the cousins?
Burn the masks. Not the men. The masks are the magic. Take the masks, and the men become merchants again. And merchants do not march on pyramids in the dark.
And how did you know about the cousins?
Because the round-faced one looks at his second cousin's wife in the way a guilty man looks at the only person who can hang him. I watched them at the festival. I watched them at the temple. I watched the wife's hands. The wife pays the cousins from her husband's coin. The husband does not yet know. We will tell him an hour before the Unsullied arrive, and he will run faster, because a man who has been cheated runs faster than a man who has merely been hunted.
You learnt this in the dance.
I learned it before the dance, niece. The dance only confirmed it.
2 moons later, Daenerys comes to her aunt's chamber before dawn with a parchment in her hand. Rhaenyra is at the window with Viserion's eye visible in the courtyard, and the dragon's eye blinks slowly when Daenerys enters.
The fishmonger on the harbour road, the one with the red awning.
Yes, niece. What of him?
His daughter married a Pyre cousin 3 weeks ago, quietly. The dowry was paid in saltfish, which is too clever to be honest. The saltfish went to a warehouse the Pyre do not own. The warehouse is on the 3rd tier, and on the 3rd tier there is no fish.
Rhaenyra is silent for a long moment.
Go on, niece.
The warehouse holds masks. I sent a slave to count them last night. 43. The Pyre will move tomorrow at the bell, because the new moon is tomorrow, and they have been waiting for a dark sky. I have moved the Unsullied already. I came to tell you, not to ask you.
Good.
I came because I wanted you to be there when the bell rang, and to see the daughter's face when we took her father out of the warehouse. Not because I needed your hand on it. I have my hand on it.
Then I will come, niece. I will come because I want to see the daughter's face too. And because there is a thing every teacher waits to see. And you have just shown me you have it. The bell will ring on time. The masks will burn. And tonight you will not need me to read the wife's hands. You read them yourself.
Within the first season, she has names. Within the second, the names are gone. The crucifixions stop. In the throne room of the Great Pyramid, Daenerys begins to give orders Rhaenyra has not given her. And Rhaenyra begins to nod from the back of the room rather than lean forward. One afternoon, a delegation of Giscari nobles is presented at court, and the eldest, a man with long, oiled curls, says a thing in trade Valyrian he should not have said. He speaks of the Queen's youth, of how the Queen will surely soften in time. Daenerys does not look at Rhaenyra.
My lord, you have mistaken me for a queen who has not yet decided what she is. I have decided. The estate is forfeit. Your name will be removed from the rolls of Meereen by sundown. Your children will keep your house, on the condition that they never speak your name again in any room I am in. If you would like to argue with me, you may go and argue with the Master of Coin. He is the one with the dragon.
The Giscari noble bows lower than he came in. As he is led out, Rhaenyra at the back of the room raises her eyebrows in something that is almost a smile, and Daenerys, without having looked, knows. It is in those days that an old knight in rags presents himself at the gate of the Great Pyramid.
Your Graces, forgive me. The histories said,
Stand up, sir. Tell me your name.
Ser Barristan Selmy, Your Grace, Lord Commander of the Kingsguard once, banished by the boy king after the death of King Robert. I have come to offer my sword to the rightful heir of the Iron Throne.
Selmy. I knew a Selmy at court when I was a girl. He was a fool. Are you a fool too?
I have been called many things, Your Grace. A fool is one of the kinder ones.
Tell me, sir, who do you serve?
Her Grace, Daenerys Targaryen.
Not me?
Your Grace, with all respect, you are a story. Her Grace is a queen. I will swear to her, and I will defend you to the last drop of my blood, and that is the most honest answer I can give you.
That is the right answer, sir. Niece, take this knight.
Ser Barristan, rise. You are restored to my Kingsguard and named its Lord Commander from this day.
Until the last breath, Your Grace.
In the months that follow, Ser Barristan begins to watch his queen the way a man watches a sky for weather. One evening on the seawall, he speaks at last.
Your Grace, may I say a thing that is foolish?
Of course, sir.
I find I am watching you to be sure of something. That when I walk behind you, I am still walking behind one queen.
Sure of what?
You hold a goblet now the way she does. You pause before answering a lord the way she pauses. You called Captain Drogo child yesterday, and he is older than you by 10 years. Yesterday you gestured to the harbour with 2 fingers, and I have seen that gesture only once, in a portrait, in the Red Keep when I was a boy. The realm feared one Rhaenyra, Your Grace. It does not yet know it has made 2.
Is that a warning, Ser Barristan?
No, Your Grace. It is a vow. The realm trusted one Rhaenyra too late. I will not make the same mistake twice.
That night, the 2 queens take wine together on the high terrace.
May I ask you something?
You may ask me anything, niece. You may not get an answer.
When I spoke to the Giscari today, the cadence, the pause, the way I held my hand on the arm of the chair, was that me or was it you?
It was you using a tool I gave you. The tool is mine. The hand is yours. Most teachers are forgotten before the student notices the tools. You have noticed early. That is to your credit and to my discomfort.
Aunt, I have to ask. When the lords of the world look up at us, at this throne, at these dragons, at the 2 of us, whose name will they say first? Am I queen, Aunt? Or am I your shadow?
Rhaenyra is quiet for a long time.
Call me Rhaenyra, that is all. If they believe I have come back, they believe it. If they do not, they will believe it after they have seen Viserion and me from the wrong side of a battlefield. I am not here to be remembered, niece. I am here to make sure you are. I fought my own blood for that throne. I drowned the realm in the trying. The dragons died screaming for it, and my children died screaming for it. And at the end, I died screaming for it. And the cup tasted like ash, even in my mouth. You are not meant to become me, child. You are meant to succeed me. There is a difference, and I will keep teaching you the difference until I am sure you understand it.
And if I cannot?
Then I will have failed at the only thing that has ever mattered. But you can, niece. You have already begun. You walked into a fire because you wanted to be brave. I never had that part. The part of you that did that is the part I cannot teach. You will do the rest with the tools I give you, and you will do the part I cannot teach with what you brought from the fire. That is enough. That is more than enough.
Daenerys weeps quietly, and Rhaenyra stands beside her and does not touch her, because she remembers there are griefs which do not want a hand on them. The day the freed slaves of Meereen are gathered in the Great Plaza for the first festival of the Bay of Dragons, the two queens prepare to do a thing no eyes alive have seen done. Drogon and Viserion are saddled together in the High Pyramid Yard.
Rhaenyra, are we ready?
I have been ready, Daenerys, since the night a girl I had not met called my name into a fire.
What do they expect to see?
What we have already given them. A young queen on a black dragon. They have heard the rumors. They will see the rumors made flesh.
And what will they remember?
They will remember the second dragon, the gold one no one knew was coming. That is the lesson. Always have a second dragon.
Rhaenyra, one more thing.
Yes, niece.
When we land, after, they will reach for us, the freedmen. They will want to touch our hands, our hems, our boots. Should we let them?
Let them reach. Do not flinch from the hand of a man who slept on a stone floor last winter. Once they have touched you, they will die for you. That is older than dragons, Daenerys. That is the oldest piece of ruling there is.
And if there is a dagger in one of the hands?
Then Viserion and Drogon will smell it before you see it. He has been looking for one all afternoon.
The black dragon and the gold dragon lift off from the pyramid roof at the hour the long shadows fall east across the city. The crowd in the plaza below is the largest in Meereen centuries. Freed slaves from 3 cities, Dothraki of the old khalasar and the new, unsullied in long iron rows, sellswords, merchants from every free city, septons of the Reach in pilgrimage, Dosh Khaleen in grey robes, and in the back, a thin man from Pentos with the careful smile of a courtier, come a very long way to see whether the rumours are true. The 2 dragons rise, find each other, and pass over the great plaza at the slow, majestic speed of a thing that does not need to prove itself. The crowd does not cheer. The crowd does not know how to cheer. The crowd kneels. 100,000 people in the plaza of Meereen kneel at once, in a sound that is not a sound. And the Pentoshi spy at the back has already turned and is walking quickly out of the plaza to find a fast ship. In the high air, Daenerys looks across at her aunt on the gold dragon, and Rhaenyra looks back.
Rhaenyra!
Yes, Daenerys.
What do we do tomorrow?
Whatever we like, child. Whatever we like.
For the first time since the Dance of the Dragons, 2 Targaryen queens ruled beneath living dragons. That's our view of this alternate timeline. Westeros is a land filled with exciting stories and endless possibilities, and we are here to uncover them with you. If you want to accompany us on this journey across the 7 kingdoms and beyond, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.